Right, welcome back to part 2, the back 9 at St Mellion. Now there's a lot of comments, a lot of positive comments in part 1 about the way this is filmed. And this is definitely, I just want to say again, this is definitely the best way to film these matches for me as well, just because you get to actually concentrate. This is more like a tournament scenario, like feels more like there's a card in your hand and you're actually playing a competitive round against a good player.
All I can think of is held bells.
Anyway, so yeah, let's get into it. So this is the back 9. Currently 2 over, Tyler's level. This is a downhill par 4, around 450, but it plays a long way downhill and everything kicks off those banks. Tyler got the kick that you're hoping for. Mine sort of just like hit up against it. So I had 155 and I had slightly fly lie, so felt like I was going slightly easy on a wedge. This wrapped a bit and this has literally gone so far. If it didn't hit the tree, so it's hit the tree trunk and it's come out onto the green, it would have probably flown up onto the next tee box. Tyler has got, so we've got these yardages, because I am super organised. Tyler had around 130 gap wedge, playing slightly downhill. So despite hitting that wedge like 190 yards into a tree, still got a putt for birdie, which had just misread. Had quite a few putts on the day, sort of like slip past the hole. Tyler again, sort of like misread it as well. Misread his. And then we have one of the signature holes coming up on St Mellion. So the next hole, the hole you're going to see, Ollie's done a great job with camera work as well. So if you do like the camera work in the next clip, make sure you give it the video a like, as when it gets to it, it's pretty decent. So it's a downhill par 3, knocks in. So it's a downhill par 3, playing 170 playing 160 into wind. So for Tyler, I think he just went with sort of like a fairly stock 8 iron, like a 165 shot, if I remember correctly. That would be like, there's about a club difference between me and Tyler, but I was looking at just hitting a low sort of like flat draw in there of an 8 iron, and this come out just like really nice. Just the flight like I had envisioned in my head, like a low flat one out the wind with a bit of a draw. It's always nice when they come off. Tyler's putt for birdie, knocking it in. And then if I remember, this was just outside right edge. I actually thought I underhit this. It's like a proper bobber move, that is. But rolled it in, got back to 1. So now we've got a downhill par 5, and the reason we're both hitting iron, or fatting iron off the tee, is just because even if you get a driver away, it tightens up. But even if you do get a really good drive away, you've still got quite a long way in to a very small green with a tree that overhangs the right side of the green. So you've got to get one fading into a very small gap and trouble left. So Tyler just says there's not much point. You just play it as a 3-shotter, and to be honest, off on upslope, this is not the easiest layup. I'm trying to get it down there about 200, 220. But it just makes more sense playing this as a 3-shot, because generally you can leave yourself, and Tyler actually hit his in the hazard on the right, so that's a drop out to there, but generally you can hit one sort of like in play and then give yourself a wedge. This was 130 into wind off a downslope, so this is just a, well, I can't even say stop gap wedge after seeing that golf swing. Tyler had a lot less. This is not much more than about 60 yards. Really good wedge player, just got a very simple action. As I said, Tyler's got like Instagram and TikTok, and he does quite a bit of coaching videos about like how to play different shots and stuff, so it's definitely worth checking his channel out, because he is a very, very good wedge player. My putt here, if you see it, like, is moving to the right and then move to the left. Tyler's putt for birdie. slot. And then I knew mine, even though it was like 2 foot, was gonna have a very slight bit of double brake, so I'm gonna hit this just fairly straight and firm. Right, the tee was up on this hole, but imperative you hit one in play, which is general story, like off the tee at St Mellion. And this is a flight view. I'll put that one on Instagram. It's got to be done. So I had 116 into wind. I was just trying to hit the same shot as I did on the par 3 on the front nine, just like that low hold up cut, which just come off like a tiny bit high and right, but nothing terrible. This pitch here literally had so much nip. Landed on the fringe and killed it. Another yard, it would have skipped up next to the hole and been very, very close. So I've absolutely just caned this by and given myself a putt you really don't want to have for par. Tyler's putt for birdie. Another that hit the lip. As you can see, he's had quite a lot of chances for birdie throughout this round. It could have been pretty low. That actually moved like a cup and a half. So this is 170 now, back down the wind. You can see the last hole there. And this is just like one of the right shots I had on the last few holes. Unfortunately, just didn't really swing it that well today. Tyler's got 8 iron. Pretty good shot. Yeah, I just wasn't really swinging it that well. And I find when I'm not swinging it well, I can sort of keep it on the golf course, obviously with irons, and sort of hit that knockdown shot to keep it in play. But when I'm not swinging well and I'm not swinging the driver well, especially on a golf course like this, you do get penalised, and I find it hard to still get it round. But anyway, this is alright. Makes a change to see that with my short game. Very good putt from Tyler. So we're both scoring pretty well. This is an attempt at hitting the exact same shot I hit on that previous par 4, the stinger. Just got completely stuck and left this one out on the right. Bit ugly that. This is just like gunned A1, like really, really good swing. Tyler's is way down there. I've got 175 yards to get it back to the pin. I sort of had a line here, but I pulled it, what I thought was about 5 yards left of my line. It turned out to be about 10 left of the line, and just kicked off the, did this kick off the bank? Yeah, I mean, that's quite a long way left. Left myself a 30-yard bunker shot there. Tyler's got an awkward wedge shot here, so this is quite a bit off the upslope, which you're going to see from the actual swing. But again, another very, very good wedge shot, and another very makeable putt for birdie. So this is that dreaded length, that 30-yard bunker shot, just trying to square up the face a bit more from here. Hit a good shot, hit right at the bottom of the flag. So that probably was loaded with quite a bit. That would have been a fair bit closer, but as it was, misses the par putt, back to 1. Tyler's gets 2. Sort of another putt, very close. And then we move on to a par 5. So it's not the longest par 5, just over 500 yards. And Tyler was just driving it very well, as you can see here. So just another bomb. So we're discussing like getting it round a golf course like this. So that's Tyler's version of his sort of like in play one. So just tease it down a bit, likes to see it going out a bit flatter. My one is a bit lower than that, but still got the tendency to get a bit more offline. It's just another shot I missed right, so it's in that long stuff there on the right with a very awkward like stance from there basically. So just getting that in play. And then this is from, I don't know the exact yardage, but I remember saying he had a 7 iron, so it's probably about 180. And it's interesting because on the day he said that he knew he didn't really have his little fade, and his feel for a little fade was producing a little draw, which is exactly what happened there. So that's what really I'm getting from players that are a bit more experienced. They'll, even though their swing may not be on the day, they'll still have a feel that produces like something that they can get around a golf course. Because Tyler said himself, he said, you know, like 60% of the time you're going to have your B/C game, and it's about getting the ball around when you've got that, which is the majority of the time. It's not often that you know, swinging on all cylinders and you come out ripping it and you got lots of chances for birdie. And that's what I'm still trying to sort of like learn, essentially. That's how you score in tournament play, especially like if there's a tournament that's like more than 1 or 2 rounds. It makes a massive difference. So yeah, I've dropped another to 2. Tyler, unbelievable shot in there to 3. And getting to 3 is very good around this golf course. Another bomb, just slight pull.
Good shot. That's about.
So you want to be, I think he says, yeah, you want to be like 25 right at that. And here's another right miss for me. And it's a shame really, because getting back to level despite not swinging it that great in parts, especially off the tee on the day, to get back to level, then to drop a couple and then put myself in this position. Because anything like around level par is like actually a very respectable score around St Mellion. So anyway, I'm hacking it around in the trees. Tyler's hitting another like ridiculous wedge shot from the rough to a tight pin which is raised. Nice shot in there. I've got 60 yards. I'm trying to get a bit too delicate with this, trying to get it up in the air so I can land it softly, but this lands in the bank just in front. So I've got this sort of like heavy lie. This is definitely one of the ones that Ryan's helped me with recently. So yeah, short game not in bad shape. So turning what probably would have been a 6 into a 5. Another drop shot back to 3. Tyler's got a chance to get to 4, and another part that hits the lip. So yeah, like I was saying to Tyler, saying like it could have been 6 or 7, which is madness around it. Bomb, absolute bomb.
Perfect. Yeah.
Shame you can't see this down. It basically carries the bunker. I knew my miss was right, so I'm aiming this left side of the fairway. Good. Trying to play it down, hit it off the toe, like hit this disgusting shot, but knew where my miss was going to be, so ended up in quite a good spot with 120, I think. So this is a 50 degree to a very, very tight pin, which is, this green's not deep at all. Pretty good shot there. And this is an example of why St Mellion's tough. So this is just a slight flyer from 110 that lands probably about 2 paces through the green, massive bounce, and then you've got this, which is a good, it's just bounced slightly, and then look at this. Like, this is why the golf course is tough. You put yourself slightly out of play, and you've got just a very difficult par save. But anyway, 3 over to get back to 2. Slightly overread that, but overall not too displeased with like 3 over, despite swinging it not that well. Sandwell Park playing this week on the Jamaica, or next week on the Jamaica. Got more videos coming soon. Hope you enjoyed St Mellion. See you on the next one.